Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Code Global, where we are going to be doing a lot about programming, about softwares, and how we go about it. So today in this course, we are going to be seeing Python. This is a Python full course that we are going to be going through with it. And with this Python course, it's not just any type of Python course like a crash course that we know. This is a course that you can learn from the beginning to the end, and you're going to become a Python developer. And we are going to start with this course from the very basic of Python, the basics of Python, onto running projects at the end of this course. So this course is going to go through, it is a playlist. So this is Python course, Python full course, and then learn how to code the right way. So this is a part one of it. And in this part one, what are the things we are going to be seeing in this particular course? It is what is Python programming? We are going to understand why we learn Python, and we are also going to see how to download and install the Python on our Windows operating system, and also how to download and install the PyCharm, that is going to be the Python interpreter, the IDE that we are going to be using to run our codes. And then the next thing we are going to see finally in this particular course, in this particular part one of this Python course, is what are variables and how to name your variables correctly in Python. So sit tight, the course is in session. I am Nash, and I am going to be the instructor throughout this program, this particular course. So we are starting the first part of it today, and just be looking forward when you're in this when you sign in. Make sure to subscribe to this channel, and you hit that notification bell because I'm going to be uploading the other parts. Remember, Python is a full programming. It's a full programming course that we are going to. I want to take a detail of it so that when you study it till finishing running real-time projects. Now, the first thing is, what is Python programming? Python is a widely used high-level programming language that places strong emphasis on the code readability and simplicity. Making it possible for programmers to do what to develop applications rapidly, meaning they are able to develop the application as quick as possible. Why we learn Python? Because you need to know why you should learn it, isn't it? So if you're new to programming or you're a new programmer, Python is a great place to start. One of the key features of Python is its simplicity, making it the ideal language for beginners to learn. Most programs in Python acquire considerably fewer lines of code to perform the same tasks compared to other programming languages such as C, C++, Java. When it comes to Python, in writing your code, it is very, very easy and very, very simple. The number of lines, it is very, very easy to read and understand. That is why we say Python is almost like English language. So this leads to fewer word programming errors and reduce the development time needed. So in addition, Python comes with an extensive collection of third-party resources that extends the capability of the language. As such, Python can be used for a large variety of tasks, such as for desktop applications, database applications, network programming, game programming, and even mobile development. So last but not the least, Python is a cross-platform language, which means that code written for one operating system, such as Windows, will work well on Mac operating system or Linux operating system without making any changes in our Python code. Right. This is what we want and what we enjoy. So the next thing we are going to be seeing is how to download and install our Python on our PC, on our Windows operating system, because we need to download and install the Python, and we need to also download and install the Python interpreter, which in our case, we are going to be using the PyCharm. Let's head over now and do this download. So the first thing we are going to be doing, we are going to be downloading the Python on our PC or our laptop. So you just go to your browser, open any browser of your choice, just type python.org. When you type python.org, just press enter. It is going to land you in this page as you're seeing like this. So you just need to click on download. When you click on download, then it is going to give us the latest version of the Python that we want to install on our PC or our laptops. So you just need to go ahead to click here on download. And when you click on download, it doesn't take time for it to be downloaded. It takes just few seconds and it's going to get downloaded on our PC. So let's just download and see. Automatically, when you click on download, then it is going to download it for us. It gets downloaded. You can see, you can right click and view in your folder. if it is downloaded, right click and view in folder, show in folder. So there it is. You can double click, just double click on it. So we have to install it. Now we have to install it. And if you're using a Windows operating system, you must click on this add path. They add this in Python to path, because if you don't add Python to path, it's going to be a problem. So you have to click on that if you're working on Windows operating system. So we just have to keep following the steps and keep going for us to be able to install the installation process that we are installing the Python. So you have to click on install now. So the Python is installing. We have successfully downloaded and installed the Python on our PC or a laptop. The next thing we are going to be looking for is how to download and install the PyCharm on our laptop or PC. So just type PyCharm download for PC or for Windows or for laptop or for whatever it is that you give there. Just press enter. When you're done, you just click on enter. So now just click on the first link, that is JetBrains. And one thing you should understand is that PyCharm is powered by JetBrains. So we just follow the default www.jetbrains.com, click on the first link. So it is going to open. One thing you need to understand here is this. PyCharm comes in two editions. We have the professional edition and we also have the community edition. So for the professional edition is the paid edition. If you're whatever you can do in the community edition, do here, but this is the paid edition. So, and if in case you don't want to go with the pay edition, like in our case, where we are going to go with the community edition, because everything we need to do is found in the community edition. So we don't need to go for I don't need to go for the professional edition. But if you feel like maybe you want to pay, you can go for the professional edition. And if your system is not Windows operating system, maybe it's Mac or whatever operating system you're having, and depending on how you want it to be, which operating system, how you're putting it, you can choose how you want to select. The next thing you need to just do is you just need to click on download. Once you click on download, automatically this PyCharm Community Edition is going to be installed on your it's going to be downloaded, not installed, downloaded on your PC or laptop. So if you click either here, as you click on download, automatically, like in our case, we are going to go with the Community Edition. And once we click this download, we are going to have it downloaded on our PC, just like what. So you see the download now is there. Click and the download. You see that's PyCharm. PyCharm is being downloaded. So the download process has started. So you just have to wait for it to go through successfully and finish. Now the PyCharm is complete. So you can right click and view in folder, or you can open directly from here. If you right click, you're going to view it in your folder, like what we did when we were working with we're installing the Python also. So you just need to, it is done complete, just right click and then show in folder. So now we can see our PyCharm. There it is. So the PyCharm is installed. So double click on it. If you double click on it, so there it is. Just click on next. And then you have to select the path where you want it to be. You have to give the destination path where you want that PyCharm to. When you download, it should be just click on next after selecting it. And then it's giving us options here. You need to check which option you want. If you want to add, like for example, they're asking things that it depends on you which one you want to add a shortcut on your you want to add a shortcut on your desktop. When you finish, you have to specify all those things. Whatever you want, you specify. Anything that you need, you have to specify how you want it to be. If you don't need anything, don't take it. So I'll just advise you follow whatever I'm doing. Just go directly like that without even, just choose whatever is me choosing is going to be okay for you without stressing. So just click on next. You can add any of the shortcut, you add any of the keys, you can choose whatever you want to. Just really say what desktop. I choose the first option because I want that this PyCharm should be on my desktop. When I finish, I should see a shortcut key, just like how we have these other ones on our desktop. That's why I choose the first option, because I want to see a shortcut key for the PyCharm that is going to appear like this. As you see PyCharm, the PC there represent PyCharm. So that's it. Then you click on install. So it is installing. Now if you look on my desktop, the PyCharm icon has just appeared on the desktop. Why? Because this is what we wanted, right? So now it is on our desktop as we wanted it to be, which is beautiful. So we just have to wait for the installation to complete. Now the installation is finished. The next thing you need to do is to click on finish. Means that what? Your PyCharm is there. But now one thing is that if you want to run the PyCharm, to open it immediately when you finish, just click on this box, run, so that you should not be going to click again on what is on your desktop, the icon. So select that box and then click on finish. So automatically it is going to open the PyCharm for us. So you see, this is a PyCharm that is opening it. It's running the PyCharm now. We just have to wait. And I say it is powered by JetBrains. So the PyCharm is opening. So this is it. It's giving us, just click this I confirm to. That's just a terms and condition. You take next, continue. And then it's asking if you want that it should be sending you anonymous data. For my case, I don't want, so I'll click don't send. But if you want, you can click send. So this is it. The PyCharm is open. Now you can see this is it. The PyCharm, now the software is ready for us to be able to use. And that is what we want, isn't it? We want to have our, or to work with it, this is software ready for us to work, which is a PyCharm. And you know, in everything as you're working, the first thing they're always going to ask you is what? To create a new project. So we have to create a new project. And the first thing is to give your project name. The name of your project, let's say my project I'm saying is Python project, which is okay. The location where you're having it, you can just give the name of the project. And you can just specify the location. You can also specify maybe the name that you want to give to that particular project, how you want to get it. So in here, you just have to read. Let's say I'm giving it as hello world. You get it? I'm just giving as hello world, or to keep it the way we want to keep it. You get it? So under this location, I've just given that my name is hello world that I've just given. Then coming to this in the interpreter. If you look there, the interpreter type, which is a project view, everything is there. You can just leave it as default, or you want to customize it. You can customize the way you want it. You want to customize. It is how you want it to do. That is your choice. Just look in and just think, how do you want to just read through? Anything you want to do here, you can play around. If you don't want, just follow whatever I'm going to do. And let's just go together and just work with it. Okay. So I'm just opening everything so you can see for yourself. So when you're downloading or you're installing this, you're going to understand that everything is so easy and everything is so simple. It is not something that is difficult for you to be able to get. So just click on create. And also, as I told you about the interpreter, if you open there, there are a lot of things you can do inside. You can customize it how you want it to create you want to customize to generate a new one, how you want to fix the environment. It depends on you. But just go with the default, whatever I'm going with. You can go with the default option. You can set it the way you want. I'm just clicking on what I'm just going to keep it the way I want, how I want it to work, because that is how it is going to give me everything. Just follow exactly what I've just done here. I just click on create. So it's creating our environment for us. So it's setting up the environment for us, which is a beautiful thing, because we need the environment to be able to run our Python codes, isn't it? We want to be able to work, because that is the purpose. We want to run the codes and see how beautiful they are. So this is it. You see, we are going to see that is it, our project name, Hello World, the one we are having. You can now create a new file. How can you create a new file? Under that same project, you just need to do what? Just right click on it. You have the new. From that new, you can now click on what? New file, new Python file that I want to create. You're going to need to give the Python file name. Whatever name that you want to give, you get it? So it depends on you. What file? So let's say I'm giving it as my app.py. One thing is that every Python file ends with a .py extension. When you see any file which is .py, you know it is a Python file. So you see, I've given it as my app. So we want to just write a file, first want to also just create a file to just maybe write our first Python code. So now we have created a file, and the file we have created, that's what we have created, a Python file, and we give it as my app. Next, the next thing we are going to be seeing here is what are variables, Python variables, because we have to start running the codes. Now that we already downloaded our Python and our Python interpreter, we don't just go about start writing codes without understanding what we are writing, because at least you should be able to know how to, because variables are something that we are going to know in here, and they are very, very important. So variables are the names that are given to data that we need to store and manipulate in our programs. For instance, suppose your program needs to store an age of a user. You need to store the age of a user. To do this or to do that, we can do what we can name the data as user age. For example, I'm just giving a name to it. I'm saying that I'm naming it as what? As user age. This is it. I'm naming it. as a user age, and I define the variable as what? As a user age. Using the following statement. So to do what? I'm saying that the user age, I'm using this assignment operator, which is in mathematics is the equal sign. But we are going to understand more of this when we are dealing with what? When we are dealing with operators. So I'm just assigning, this is just a default value I'm giving here. I'm giving as 0. It can be anything. You get me? I'm just defining the this in the variable. I've defined the variable. I'm giving it as user age. That's the name of the variable I'm given. Meaning, and this particular variable is supposed to store something. It's supposed to hold a particular data. It's storing a particular data that we are going to manipulate inside the program. So you define the variable user age, your program will allocate a certain area of a computer storage, space to that particular data. So you can then access and modify this data by referring to it by its name. Meaning that whenever in the program I use the name that I've given, the variable name that I've given as user age, it is going to locate, it's going to go to that particular storage in the memory where it has stored. It will collect the data that particular variable is holding and is going to use it in the program. So every time you declare a new variable, you need to give it initial value. You need to give an initial value to it. In this example, we have given the initial value as 0. So, the 0 we are giving it there, that is like this thing, like the nines, this in the digital number. You get it? We can always change this value in our program as we move forward in that particular program. How to name your variables, because the one thing is that it is good to give a variable to your variables while you're writing your program, but if you don't know how to name the variable, then it is going to be a very huge problem. Now, naming your variables is very, very important. When naming a variable name in Python can only contain letters A to Z or A to B, and it is not only in Python, in all programming languages. And the only special character that a name, when you're naming a variable can contain, is the underscore character. Is this underscore character? Meaning that you cannot use any other character when you're naming your variable. However, the first character cannot be a number. When you're naming your variable, you cannot use the first character to be a number. A number can be in your variable name, but it cannot start with a number. Hence, you can name your variable using the name. For example, these are some things I can name my variable. I can just say user underscore name. That is a variable name is correct. Or I say username 2. That is a variable name is correct. But I cannot start the variable name by giving a number in front of the variable name like 2 username. It is wrong. So in addition, there are some reserved words that you cannot use in a variable name because they already have a pre-assigned meaning in Python. These reserved words includes words like print. We are going to see why we are going to be running the code, writing the code. You're going to understand why we cannot use print, because that is a built-in reserved name in Python. The input we cannot use, the if we cannot use, the why we cannot use. We are going to see that, and etc. There are so many of them. We'll learn about each of them in the subsequent chapters that we are going to be seeing, the subsequent classes that we are going to be going. And finally, variable names are case sensitive. You need to understand this. This is very, 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 very important. The variable names are case sensitive. For example, if I give my variable name as username, and then when I want to use that same name, I cannot think that when I write username like this, it is going to call this username. No. If it is written username, wherever I'm using in the program, I must write it, spell it the same way I have given it from the beginning when I declared it. So now that we have successfully set up our listing, we've created a new project, which is a Hello World. So project, now we have created a file. We've created a file, which is my app.py. That is where we want to be able to run our code, which is not having any problem because we want to be able to run the code here. So this is the PyCharm as we want to run the code to be able to write. So let's try to see before entering, because today the main thing we are going to be discussing is variables in Python, and also how to name our variables. That is what we saw. So that is what we are going to be doing. This tutorial is going to dwell on that. So what is it that we have to do? We just have to do let's try to go ahead to write our first Python code. For example, let me just say print, like how I told you guys the other time that this print this print function, it doesn't take what? This print, you get it, is in lowercase. One thing I told you, I say it is a special keyword. We don't use that variable name because it is inbuilt. So we have to use it when we want to print something. We want to print a particular thing and it's in lowercase, we have to write the prints. Let's try to run just the first one. And instead here in Python, You can put it in single quote or you can put it in double quote. You get it? It can be in double quote or single quote. It's still the same thing with Python. Meaning that if I want to write the string in Python, I can write the string in single quote. If I write a single quote, let me say, welcome to Python, Python class. So welcome to this Python class. The same thing I can still write, I can still give print. Then I'm giving you a double quote. I'm just going to write maybe the same thing or another thing. Okay. This is my first class. I'm just writing. Now in Python, whenever the interpreter, when you encounter what the compiler encounter a single quote inside this parenthesis, like this single quote or a double quote, it knows it is a string. It blindly points it like that. Means whatever you've written inside this single quote or double quote, it is going to print as the same thing. You get it? So if you want to run this particular code, when you've written your code, you want to be able to run it. I'm just going to collapse this. You've written the code, you want to run it. There are different ways to run it. You can just click the shortcut here directly. If you click on run, you see automatically we are getting the output here. It says, welcome to Python class. This is my first class. I'm printing, and in Python, it prints line by line. You get it? It prints the first line, and then it comes to print the second line. So this is the output panel. I'm just going to collapse it. You get it? That is just how it's going to go. Then before we are going to enter to be able to do what we are here. Now let's talk about variables. As we said, the main thing for this class today is about variables. Let's talk about variables. Use the variables to temporarily store the data. You get it? In the computer's memory. You get it? We can be able to store a particular data that we are going to use in our computer memory. So let me just show you. For example, if we declare what? So as we said Python variables is just like a container that stores the value, right? It's just a container stores the value. And I say an example of a Python variable is just representing what? A name. The name that serves as a pointer to an object. And once the object is assigned to that particular variable, it can refer to that variable by the name. So, for example, I gave an example when I was discussing it. I said, for example, if I want to be able to do what, for example, I want to get the age of a particular user, I can just give a variable name. I can just say user age. If I say user user age, it's just a variable that I've just given user age, and then I'm going to store a particular value. Particular value. Let's say I'm saying that the user age I'm giving 20. It's a particular value that I'm storing. And if I want to, it's going to store in the computer memory. It's going to store in this. You get it? So this particular variable is just holding. It's just this variable of user age is just holding this particular word, this particular value 20. You get it? It's just like, for example, in a memory. In the memory, there's a value that I'm storing. There's a particular memory I've allocated for to hold this particular value, and that memory storage I've labeled it as user age. That is just what is just happening. You get it? So what happens? So the variable now is this. This is the variable name, and this is the value that it is storing. So this variable name acts as a container, meaning that if I want to access the particular memory where this is located, I can access it through the name. Using the user name, the name, I can be able to access it. You get it? It'll be easy for me to be able to access it. So meaning that if I want to get this, if I just do like this, if I say print, look at the difference between the two. If I say print now, if I want to print, I want to get the value that say user and user age. If I say user age and I run this code, look at what happens. It gives me 20, means that it goes to that particular location in the memory where it is labeled user age, and then it prints now by the value that it is storing in that location. I don't know if you guys are getting it. That is how this thing works. You get it? But now look at the difference. If I come like this, I do like this print, I give 20. I'm running the code again. Can you see? It blindly prints 20. This second 20 is just that it blindly prints it because it doesn't know it's just a 20 I've just passed. I just passed it, just printed, but that is not the thing. But now if I want to access that particular storage, I need to use the name that I've given to it, and this name is called variable. This name that I've given as user age is called variable. It can be anything. It can be anything, you get me? You can keep it as anything. For example, let's say, let me just collapse this output panel. Let's say I'm going to give a variable name as var. I'm just giving, that's a variable name I'm giving. It can be anything. You get it? And then I just say, let me give you, I said, okay, now look, this is a different one. This particular variable name was storing what? This particular variable name was storing an integer value. This is a number, right? It was storing an integer value. Now, this is another variable that I've declared, which is var. It can be anything. It's just a name, variable name. It can be any name. And in this variable name that I've declared, it's holding what? It is holding but a string. I told you that anything we put in double quote or the single quote is a string. String means what? Sequence of characters, because it's a combination of characters, a collection of characters. These are different characters who have combined to form a string. That is just what string is all about. So if I want to print this, if I want to get the output of this, if I want to not, meaning that in a memory, there is a particular location in the memory that we have given the name as var, and it is storing the value, storing the string. It has assigned a particular memory to store this particular string. So if I want to access the string, what should I do? If I want to be able to access this, is it possible for me to be able to access it? Yes, it's possible. You want to undo, you can just undo like this, or you can use the shortcut. You don't want to go in that format, you can just use Control Z. It's going to get it for you. So what happened now? I just have to print. If I say print, I'm printing what I'm printing var. You get it? I'm printing var because this var is the variable name, and this variable name means that when I print it, what happened to it is that what? It is going to print the value that it is holding in the memory. You get it? Is it Python for beginners? As I print var, it gives me Python for beginners. And here like this, I can be able to, maybe in case I want to add something for this, I want to add anything with this, can be able to add it directly there. It's not going to be a problem. So the value stored in a variable can be changed during the program execution. That is one thing you should put in mind. It can be changed during program execution. And a variable in Python is only what? A name that is given to a memory location. That is the thing you should put in mind. A name that is given to a memory location. And one thing you have to understand is that all the operations done on the variable affects what? They say the effect that it affects that particular memory. Because that particular memory location is going to affect it. And then one thing that we need to get now is this. You've seen how you can declare this a normal way you can declare a variable. Now we've seen this is a variable you're declaring for a string integer value, and you have to print it. We are going to be seeing, because you need to know how to declare a variable, because we are going to be using it where we're going to be using it when we are working, we are running programs and doing things. I will not be telling you that, oh, this is a variable. You need to know that a variable is supposed to hold this. So that is why you need to know this. I brought this because it's a small topic. I had to add it to what we started. You get it? So now the next thing is naming your variable. As we saw that how to name your variable. The rules for Python variables. Rule number one, a Python variable name must start with a letter or an underscore character, and the only character that it takes is an underscore. Meaning that I can start this particular name with underscore. It's not going to be any problem. And I can start it what? I can write underscore in between. It's not going to be a problem. It's not going to be put. The only special character that it can take is the underscore. That is the only special character that the Python variable can take. And it can start with a letter or the underscore. Means that what I can leave it to start with a letter or I can leave it to start with underscore. It's not any problem. A Python variable name cannot start with a number, meaning that I cannot start with a number. I cannot say, let me say, one var. Like this. It's going to throw an error. You can see from here, automatically it's throwing an error. If I give it in this format, look at it. When I run this program, see, can you see it's throwing an error? Where is it throwing that error? Oh, I've not arranged. This one is throwing an error also because I have to put the same thing here. This same thing here, the same thing here. I just have to put the same thing to replace it here. That is the only reason. You see, if I rerun this code again, see what happens. Now it's telling us where the error is. It's finding an error and it's telling us syntax invalid. Where? One var. It is pointing. This is the place where it is pointing to make you to understand that a variable name does not start with a letter. It says Python or beginner. This is where it's throwing where the error is happening. It's giving us where we encounter the error. It's a syntax error. I'm going to open it for you to see. It says invalid decimal literal. You get it? So that is it. Because of this one, if I remove this one and if I put it but here, it's not going to be any problem. It's not going to be any problem, meaning that there's no problem with this. If I run this code again, you see we are getting all our outputs because this first part is correct. I can start a variable name with underscore, or if I don't want, I can leave it and I can put underscore in between to separate the variable names. It's not a problem. But I cannot do what? I cannot start a variable name with a number. I can end a variable name with a number. In between, I can put numbers, but I cannot start the variable name with a number. Because once you give a number there, it is going to automatically throw an error. That is why now we are getting the output. And remember, when you're calling that particular variable that you use to declare, to declare, that you use a variable to declare, you know, the variable that you declare and that you're using or that you define, this particular variable, when you're calling it, it has to be the same. You cannot write var1 and you come and call var. It is not going to give you the output. It's not going to give you. And then one thing again you need to know about variable name, naming your variable, is that a Python variable name can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscore. It can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscore. Means that the only special character, you cannot use asterisk, you cannot use hash. Because in Python, when we use hash, hash is to what? It's a single line comment. If I want to comment this line, I use hash. It has commented the line. Can you see this line? If I run it now, it is not going to give me anything. Can you see it's throwing an error here for this var because it does not know where to take the var to print the characters. So if I want to comment the line, I just need to use what? I just need to use this hash. It has commented it. So if I run this code again, look at it. This part is not going to get executed because the compiler, the interpreter does not read this. It has been commented. So only this part get executed and is calling this age, this user age, which the value of it that is stored in the memory is 20. Can you see how it goes? This is how Python variable works. Now, you cannot use any other special character. No. Any underscore, any other thing. No, we cannot use it here. Only underscore that we can use. It's only underscore, the special character. And it can only range from what? From A to Z, small a to Z or capital A to Z. And you can mix it. You get it? You can mix the characters depending on what you want. You can mix them. It's not going to be a problem. That is one thing about it. And then variables in Python, the Python, the names are very case sensitive. This is very, very important. Remember, I said this thing before. Names are very case sensitive. Means your naming convention. For example, if I'm given, if I want to, I want to give the name of a person that I'm having a Python program writing, and I need to use a name variable. If I say name, I've given the name I'm giving here. Let's see, I'm giving the name as Nash. Now, if I want to call this particular name, if I come and I say print, and then I say what, and then I give it as what, name. Do you think both of them are the same? This name variable is holding this value Nash in the memory. Now, if you look at it, it's throwing an error here because the naming convention started with small letters, but now when I'm calling it, I want to print it. Sorry, when I want to print it, I'm passing this particular variable to be able to print the value. I'm giving the capital letters. That is why it's throwing an error because how now it does not look, it does not find it in the program. It can't find this particular name character. So if you run it, if I run this, look at what happens. It's going to throw an error. You see the other first two, this is it, they printed, they got printed, this and this got, they have no issue, no error. But now coming here is a print name. It's looking for this name, it's not finding it. Because Python variables are case sensitive. It says, did you mean name? Because what you can see is name, but what I'm given is what? Name. Meaning that if I write it in capital letter, if you write a name in small letters, when you want to use it, that name must be in that small letters. If it is in capital letter, it must be in that capital letter. You cannot write small letter name, or you cannot write, or otherwise you can also do like this. For example, I cannot write in small letter and I want to print it and I go and write in capital letter like this. It's going to throw an error. That is why it is giving us in that format, because it is not correct. It's checking it and it's seeing that it is not correct. So therefore we are not able to do that. You see, so, and one thing we need to understand is that with Python, Python variable and the names and other stuff things. Now let me try to show something here. How can I be able to? Okay, let me just do something here also to show more how I can do this. For example, I'm just going to give it in different ways to see how you can be able to do what? To print. Anyway, I've already explained that. It's not even going to help do this. I've already shown you in that format how you can be able to. And also, how can you be able to do what? To assign. I've also shown you how you can assign values to your variable names. For example, I say the first one is what? The variable, I'm defining a variable that is what? Age. A variable age. Always use leave small letter. A variable age. I'm given it. 20. That is what? That is an integer. That is an integer. If it's an integer, and if it's a floating point number, means a decimal point number. If I say what? Salary. Salary, if I'm defining a salary, I'm taking the variable as for salary. The variable name is salary, and this salary is holding what? Let's say it's holding 14. Okay, let's say 1400. Let's say 1400.88. Or let's say 1400.8. You get it? That is what it is holding. $1,400.8. That is what it is holding. And that is for a floating point number, because the salary for money is floating, because you don't get money. You can get money in full, you can get it in floating point. That's always keep it in that format. You get it? Floating. And if you want to define another variable that maybe can hold a string, I can say name. Because let's say, for example, I'm writing a program, that a project I'm doing. I need to get the age of a person. I want the person to give the salary range of the person also, and maybe the name of the person, of the user. I want the name of the user. And as I told you, when it comes to Python, strings, name is a string. The string is supposed to be in what? The string is supposed to be in double or single quote. And if I want to print this, I want to print all of them, meaning that what? And as I told you, Python reads in what? This is what? Let me put in this format to make it clear. I'm going to keep it like this. This is what this is, and an integer. This is an integer assignment. This is an integer assignment, and this one is a string assignment. This is a floating, sorry. This is a floating. This is a floating point. This one is a floating point. I'm just trying to be slow as fast to make everything clear for you to understand. Because once you get these basics, it's going to be very, very easy for you. And this is a string. This is a string, because a string, you see, so it means that what? If you want to define an integer value, you can use anything, but h does not have any point. And h is an h. Either it's 1 year, 0 years, 0 year, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Floating point number, it can be what? It can be a salary, it can be your rate, or maybe you're going, the ratio, all those things you can put in this format. A string is a name, and a name is, double or single quote. So now, in case I want to print this, I just say what? Print. So I'm printing. What am I printing? I'm printing the age. I'm printing what? I'm printing the salary. And I'm also printing what? I want to print. If you want to print to terminal, I want to print the name. So once I do this, means that what I want to print all of this. If I click on run, what happened is going to tell me, see, because when it encounter age, it goes to the memory and see that memory location that is named age. It takes the value of it, it prints. It encounters salary, it goes to the memory location where it's mapped salary. It checks the value stored in that memory location, which is 1400.8. You get it? Now it goes, the same thing happens to the name, so that is how it's going to print it. I hope this variable, your variable is understood, how to get it now. Let's see about declaring and initializing a variable. So now I've just shown you, what is that I've shown you? I've shown you what I just explained now is variable assignment in Python, how we can be able to assign our variables in Python. And we assign the value using the assignment operator. I told you we are going to understand this better when we are studying what? Operators. This is an assignment operator. You assign a value, means I'm assigning this to this. I'm assigning 20 to this age. It's assignment operator. You get it? Now, what we are going to look at now, we are going to also see about the variables. We are going to understand variable declaration and initialization of the variables. So the declaration and initialization of variables, you see, I'm taking a detail to make you to understand how you do these things in variable. You do these things in you do variables to understand detail. So when you're walking alongside what we're going, we don't want to be explaining these things, because at least you already understand the basics. So this is what variable declaration in declaration of variable and initialization of a variable. To declare a variable and initialize a variable, I already explained it. This is what, if I declare a variable like this, for example, if I write this, age equals to 20, I have just simply what? Declare that particular variable. This is the variable I've just declared, and I've assigned a particular value to it. You get it? That is, it means that what? I've just declared a variable and I've just initialized it by giving a default value as 20 that I've assigned to it. Now, for me to be able to print it means I'm displaying it. When I come to print here, means this is displaying that particular variable. Means I want to display the content of that particular variable, the value that particular variable is holding. That is what I am doing. You get it? That is what it means. That is what it means declaring and declaring the variable and getting it. That is a way of putting it. And how to assign. We use the assignment operator, which is this equal sign, to be able to assign values to our variables, which makes it beautiful. So you see, now what is a situation where you can assign what? You can assign multiple values at the same time. For example, look at what I just want to do here. Now, what I want to do is that what if I assign, for example, at one line I say A, I'm giving A, B, C. I'm assigning these three variables I'm declaring these three variables at the same time, and I'm doing what? I'm assigning what? This I'm giving 1, 3, 6. I'm giving it like this, and then I'm also doing what? And I'm also passing. Let's say I'm passing also what? I'm also passing a string. I can also pass a string. Let me just pass a string also. Let's say Python. Now I get down. I want to print. If I say print, let's say print A, print B. You see, this is a mode I can declare multiple, to declare it like this. Declare assigning different values to multiple variables at the same time. That is what I've just done. So the next thing, print C. Print C. Now if I run this, so print A, it knows that automatically A should be 1, B should be 2, and it should be 3, and C should be Python. So that's how it prints it. So you can. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please, what are you still waiting to subscribe? Click the subscribe button to be able to subscribe to this channel. And when you subscribe, don't forget to hit that notification bell to get notified whenever a new video is uploaded. And also, please keep a like in this video. When you watch a video you're watching, it's good to just give a like. It's like supporting the algorithm, helping us to build the algorithm. Just click that button. It doesn't pay, it doesn't cost you that much, right? Just to click the like, the thumbs up, right? And then you can keep a comment in the comment section to tell me about your experience, how you're practicing, how you find the video interesting to you. Just tell me your comment, your sincere, comment to see how interesting the video it is to you. And then you can share with others also, share with your classmates, your friends, your colleagues. And as I told you, there are more exciting things coming into this. This is a playlist that is going to go through. You have to understand everything about Python. So if you want to really know Python, you want to become a Python developer, I'm teaching everything from basics to pro. You're going to finish, and we're going to go at the end of it, we are going to run several projects, real-time projects to build cool applications that we are going to be able to use. So just stick around with me, stick around to be able to understand. And you can contact me if you want to get in contact with me personally. Just keep a message in the comment section. Thank you so much. See you in the next video. Bye.